This is the 2022 Toyota 4Runner TRD Sport. So you might be asking, what's the point of a street-focused 4Runner? Well, we're going to find out right now on Driving Sports TV. Here on this channel, we've done a lot of reviews of the Toyota 4Runner. We've taken them off-roading, we've taken them adventuring, we've taken them in the snow, into dirt, into mud, etc., etc. You get the point. But one thing we've never done is a review of a street-focused unit. Yeah, this is a street-focused 4Runner. Other than the badge, there are a few things to indicate that this is the TRD Sport. First off, you have a slightly different nose treatment. You also have the wheels, which look like they're off of a Limited, and it also comes with the X-Reus hydraulic special suspension system, which is street-oriented and also available on the Limited. And as far as off-road features, it has ATRAC, which is good. It also has hill descent control. So I guess you could say, at the end of the day, this is essentially a Limited, but without the really cool full-time four-wheel drive system. Does this thing make any sense? Well, let's take a look at the features, and then we're going to take it for a drive. Like all 4Runners, under the hood is a 4-liter V6. It's good for 270 horsepower and 278 pound-feet of torque. Now, it is connected to an automatic transmission, and that in turn can power up to 4 wheels using an on-demand, part-time 4-wheel drive system. And yeah, you manually have to turn it on to 4-wheel drive. Otherwise, you're rear-wheel drive most of the time. EPA rates this at 16 miles to the gallon in the city and 19 on the highway. So if you're looking for an economical solution, this isn't it. So you might be thinking, this must be a value offering, right? Not really. Price as you see it, $45,904 US, including destination and delivery. That is about as expensive as a TRD off-road, if you can find one. They're kind of hard to find in dealers these days. In the back, there's a number of things that 4Runner owners like, such as a roll-down rear window. Love that feature. Pop open the lift gate here, and it provides shelter. It also has illumination to help you with your workspace if you're loading in late at night. And then there's this lip here, which is just great to sit on. I mean, it's the little things that make the 4Runner so appealing. It is such a well thought out adventure vehicle. All 4Runners have a towing package. This will tow up to 5,000 pounds, which is enough for most things. And in the back, you also get a 400 watt, 120 volt AC, as well as a 120 DC. The vehicle we're testing does have a number of options. One of those are mud mats. Fold down all the seats, you're looking at 89.7 cubic feet of total capacity. And yeah, I'm 6'1" and I fit diagonally. If I go straight on one side, it's a little tight. My head doesn't quite have enough room and my feet kind of hang off the end. Second row accommodations are essentially no frills. I do have a fold-down armrest with integrated cup holders, as well as 2 USB sockets, and they are, yes, USB-A, the old style. Oh, I also have vents, and because this has the option, it comes with mud mats. And that's basically it. Now let's check out up front. Oh, it's so cold outside. Oh. Ooh, seat warmers. Seat warmers. No seat warmers. Okay, well, let's look at the rest of this interior. It basically looks like every other 4Runner that we've been in for the last several years. Nothing new here. It has a nice steering wheel that's wrapped in leather. The seats are that synthetic fabric that I actually rather like. My 4Runner TRD Off-Road Premium have the same seats. And they're really comfortable. I've done long distance trips in these things, and they're great. Because this is a TRD Sport, it even has TRD embroidered on the headrest. So, Yeah, there's really not a lot to talk about in here because it is really a basic interior. For the gauge cluster, we have a traditional TAC on the left, speedo on the right, and a multifunction in the middle. And the multifunction is what you've seen on many other Toyotas before. I can look at various pieces of information, such as the 17.8 miles to the gallon that this vehicle has currently been getting. I can look at individual tire pressures, direction and stereo, lane detection with the adaptive cruise control, which is standard on this model, as well as setup. And let's look at all of those advanced safety features. You get lane detection, pre-collision system, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alerts, and that's basically it. It is a nice suite of features though, especially for an SUV truck-like based vehicle. Over here we have big chunky knobs which work well with mittens. The head unit here is an 8-inch display, and this one has been upgraded with the premium sound package, but the display looks basically the same. The premium audio just gets you better speakers and amplifier. Going into the system, it looks like every other 4Runner we've done. I'm not going to get too much into this because this is an old system that is going to be replaced when the 4Runner is expected to be all new next year. This is theoretically the last year of the 4Runner, like this. Toyota can of course change their mind, but we are very much expecting to see an all-new 4Runner at least teased later this year. And so what do I expect for this new 4Runner? Well, I think the 2023 model will basically be like a mini version of the Sequoia. That means hybrid powertrain, probably with a Turbo 4. It's going to have the new, much quieter crawl control and MTS systems. And I think it's really just going to be an evolution of the beast, because one thing this vehicle really needs is better economy. The current economy just isn't very good at all. In fact, it's pretty horrendous. On my 4Runner, I was getting sub 20 miles to the gallon driving state to state. That's not okay in 2022. And it is the only thing that I really don't like about 4Runners. Otherwise, though, the packaging, the size, the off-road capability, it's all great. So it is kind of funny that this is a street-focused 4Runner. They make no pretense about it. I don't even get the big shifty knobs for switching between 4 high, 4 low. I get the knob that you get like in the SR5, and it does make switching between 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive very easy. If I have to go into 4 low, I put into neutral, and then I can switch over to 4 low. Now, one thing that is interesting here is if I go in reverse, this actually has a surround view camera system, which I have not seen on a 4Runner before. I believe it's available on most of the 2022 models, but it's new to me. And boy, that is a really low-res system, and 8 inches of screen real estate just really isn't quite enough to see anything that I want to see. Still, it is an improvement over what we've been getting previously, which is just a backup camera. And if you're a fan of Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, yes, it does support those. They added support, I think it was in 2021, and of course this carries over. Now the display here isn't the best, so we get a nice color display here. Okay, hit this, Apple CarPlay, and away we go. It's fine. You know, the display here isn't particularly clear, easy to read. It's okay, and I think it does fine, and I'm glad to have it versus not having it at all. The seats are power adjustable. Like I said, there's no heating or cooling or anything like that. I do have a button over here to turn on the camera system if I want, and because there's AC power in the back, I can turn that on and off with a button over here. Oh yeah, and headlights, both regular beams and high beams, are LED. Previously, in the 2021 model year, it was, I think, halogen on high beam and LED on low beam. Didn't make a lot of sense. Anyway, let's take this out on the road and see if a street-focused 4Runner makes any sense. Obviously, the Toyota 4Runner is a vehicle meant for extreme off-road adventure. So it is a bit weird that they would have the TRD Sport version of this, which is really designed not really for off-road. It's designed for the street. It even has the X-Race or X-Race or whatever you want to call it, suspension system that is a fancy hydraulic setup. Essentially what it does is the same function as a liquid sway bar. When I go into a corner, it pushes the liquid from one shock absorber to another to compensate for lean in the vehicle. So what you end up with is a more planted, more controlled vehicle. Of course, the Toyota 4Runner is no stranger to weird suspension setups because you can also get KDSS, which is like an advanced sway bar, anti-sway bar disconnect system that also compensates for lean when on pavement. And I would say, I think the big question would be, X-Race or KDSS, which is better? Well, I think for the 4Runner, KDSS would be the better setup because not only does it give you advantage on street, it also gives you an advantage when you're off the street in challenging situations by giving you more articulation. This one only helps on the street. And does it make this body-on-frame aging SUV drive any better? Well, actually it does, because one of the big Achilles heels of the 4Runner is the fact that it does kind of, it's a little roly-poly on twisty roads. But here, it actually tracks really nicely. Does it drive like your, street-oriented crossover? No, of course it doesn't. It's not designed to. But I think as far as streetability, it does kick things up a notch. Now, I haven't checked every single configuration, but I know that this X-Race, whatever you want to call it, suspension setup is available on other trims. So you do not have to get the TRD Sport to get it. However, it is standard on this TRD Sport, which kind of helps explain the pricing too, because this is not a cheap setup. As for the rest of this is your typical 4Runner. We've done so many videos on the 4Runner, I would be belaboring the point to go into all the nitty-gritty here. But it's the same knobs, same dials, it's all basically the same, and it is definitely showing its age. The upside is that a new 4Runner is just around the corner. So the question is would you buy a 2022, which has been refined and refined and refined, or would you get a year one brand new 2023? Can't actually answer that until we see what the 2023 is. Now, I find it a bit odd, but I've never done a 0 to 60 test with a 4Runner. I've even owned one, and I just never have done it. So let's see how this one fares. I'm not really expecting much because 4Runners aren't very fast. 3, 2, 1, and go. Ooh, little wheel spin. Of course, we're in two-wheel drive mode. And 60 at 7.69 seconds. It's honestly a little quicker than I was expecting. I should also mention this does have adaptive cruise control, but it does not have lane centering. So if you are cruising long distances, you can pace the vehicle in front of you, but you are not going to get any assistance as far as steering goes. It'll just notify you if you happen to, exit the road. So we've established that this is one of the best riding 4Runners for the street. But can it still do some basic off-road stuff? That's what we're going to find out next. And this is equipped with all the stuff that we really are going to need today. We have a 4 high and a 4 low because it comes with a dual speed transfer case. It also has ATRAC, which is Toyota's advanced traction control system, which will add wheel braking into the mix, which kind of replaces the need, of a locking differential. And then it also has hill descent control. We're going to try to use all the features today on some basic trails. Now, we're not going to get too crazy because the tires that we're running on are Yokohama Geolanders, which are an okay all-season radial. They are not all-terrains, and they're not really designed for anything too insane. This is the exact location that the RAV4 TRD Off-Road failed, and this is the next price up. So if you're interested in something like the RAV4 TRD Off-Road, which really isn't focusing on hardcore off-roaders, it's more of a everyday street vehicle that you can also kind of take off-road, this one is the next step up because it is a off-roader that is more tuned for the street. And in terms of price as well, because you're looking at around 44 grand for this one, with a number of options, of course. I am going to switch this into 4 low. 4 low obviously gives me a torque multiplier, which is nice. I'm not going to use ATRAC, and the reason for that is I want you to see how the wheels are going to spin, because these are open differentials. There is no locker on this one. Got to be really careful. I don't want to scratch my nice 20-inch wheels here. Okay, you seeing how the wheels are spinning? Even in a 4Runner, they will spin. So what I'm going to do now is engage ATRAC, which will prevent those wheels from spinning and redistribute power back into the system. But because this is a proper four-wheel drive system, it also is keeping it as a solid split 50-50 front to back. And up we go. It actually makes it really easy. Yeah, is ATRAC cool? Yes, it is. Okay, so even the street-oriented 4Runner, that was easy, right? Not hard at all. So let's go find something a little bit more challenging around here. Maybe that spot over there. This is very much similar to the last hill we just went up, but it is more challenging. And the reason is because the ruts are deeper and the climb is longer and steeper. So like before, I'm going to go ahead and stop. I'm going to put this into neutral, go to 4 low, and this time I am just going to drop directly into ATRAC. I will admit that switching into 4 is a little finicky. And away we go. So this should just pull us up. Now ground clearance is a slight issue, but all 4Runners have at least some basic underbody protection. And as you can see, I mean, come on, it made that look that easy. Nice, right? Now this also has a hill descent control system called DAC. I'm going to turn off ATRAC. Hill descent control will use individual wheel brakings to slow our descent. Let's see how well this thing does. Normally on a TRD off-road, I would use crawl control because that kind of both goes up and down. This one, it is just for downhill. So here we go. I'm just going to release my foot off the brake and we roll a little quicker than I really would like. Oh, and then it grabs it and eases us down. Okay, pretty good. I would like it to be slower and more controlled, however. That was a little on the quick side, but still, really a great performance off-road for a vehicle that's not really intended to go off-road. Again, this is the TRD Sport. It is not a TRD off-road. So where do we go from here? Well, the new 2023 4Runner will definitely have a hybrid powertrain. Features like the ATRAC and the DAC will be a lot smoother and quieter because even though they work really well, it kind of sounds like your vehicle is braking in the process. It's not, but it sounds just really weird. And new buyers definitely don't like that. So I like it, but you know, I'm used to it. Even though this vehicle is targeting the on-road buyer, for somebody who maybe really just doesn't plan on going off-road that often, but wants something capable if and when the need arises, this is a really good option. Now, would I spend the same amount of money on this or the TRD off-road? Well, I would definitely get the TRD off-road. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. We need your support to make these videos, and we do make them for you. We'll see you again here real soon.